Now on Sunrise and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, more than 120,000 people remain without power in Houston. Governor Abbott now stating his demands. Victoria received funds for a special project, how it applies to first responders, coming up. Plus, investigators reveal new details on what the shooter accused in former President Trump's attempted assassination did the day of the shooting.
And that radar is looking pretty clear out there this morning, except for one shower coming up into the coast. But it's going to look like that for the next couple of days until later this week. The rain comes back. We'll take a look at that and the weather coming up.
The Victoria Generals try to finish strong down the stretch. That's coming up in sports.
You're watching 25 News Now Sunrise. Good morning and thank you for joining us. I'm Carolina Astrain.
And I'm Parker Cox.
And today it's the 16th day of July 2024. The time is now 6:31 on our Tuesday morning. And let's get a look at what our forecast is looking like. Parker, I'm so happy to be back here in Victoria after 3 weeks of travel.
Yes, and great to have you back, Carolina. It was definitely a little bit odd without you, but it's also lots of fun having
you
a Darius,
had fun with it, Darius.
Oh, yes.
You can tell me.
Lots of fun with the Darius for sure. Don't worry about that. But Carolina, in the meantime, since you've been gone, we had lots of rain, but good news is, folks, we got some more. You're looking at the chance of rain for the next 5 days. We're going to look at that in just a second, because right now, if you're tuning in with us this morning, it's another warm and humid morning. You're looking live here in Victoria. Look at that pretty sunrise, though. All kinds of pretty colors there. You got pink and some navy blue and purple. Very pretty sunrise, but still plenty warm and humid, like I was saying, 77 degrees, dew point at 75, very wet, making your humidity 94%, but I'm not expecting any fog out there this morning, but you might see just one of us, or just a very select few of us might see some showers. And looking at that radar, like I said, I can prove it, just coming into right near Port Lavaca and Point Comfort as well. And you can see right as I zoom in, heading about north right now, coming directly towards Point Comfort. Just going to be some moderate rain in that. I don't think there's going to be any thunder in that. You might hear one rumble of thunder, but otherwise get your umbrellas ready if you're in Point Comfort, because for the rest of the day, I don't think you're going to need your umbrella. I think maybe one more shower might develop somewhere here on the crossroads. I can't tell you exactly where, because today's weather is going to be pretty similar to yesterday, including the temperature and the clouds. In fact, your clouds are going to be somewhat similar to yesterday, and that there's going to be blue skies on the one side, northern half of the crossroads, and then cloudy on the other side. It's going to be a fine line. It's going to look really interesting in the skies and around 1, 2, or 3 p.m. So look up in the skies. But like I said, no rain chances today. I've got it at 10%, because in the background it's going to feel up to 109 for some, with the humidity still very present. That's going to continue for a couple more days until the rain chances ramp back up. And we're going to take a look at that later on Sunrise. Back to you, Carolina.
Thank you, Parker. Seadrift City Council members terminated its chief of police in a unanimous vote Monday. Marie Carrizales was put on administrative leave on June 25th, 2024. The council and Carrizales have declined to comment. She was hired full-time on May 3rd of last year. She joined the department in November of 2021 as a part-time employee. Victoria County officials received funds for a shelter to house first responders during and after a disaster. The funds are being provided by a hazard mitigation grant. Similar to the safe room domes used for public use, the first responder shelter will be built to withstand the destructive winds associated with tornadoes and hurricanes. The construction of the shelter will be near the Victoria Regional Airport. The job order will soon be put out to bid, and it's expected for completion sometime in 2026. Governor Greg Abbott doubling down on his demand for answers from CenterPoint Energy. The demand comes as more than 129,000 customers are still without power. Abbott toured NRG Arena Monday alongside Houston Mayor John Whitmire and other local and state officials. The governor said the state will continue to focus on assisting residents directly impacted by Hurricane Beryl and those who are still without power. He also blasted the power company, giving CenterPoint a deadline for their response to his demand for answers. The FBI issued a new bulletin in the wake of the assassination attempt on former President Trump. It warns of possible violence at election-related events. We're now learning new details of the gunman's movements ahead of the shooting.
This morning, a new FBI and Homeland Security bulletin sent to law enforcement nationwide reveals on the day of the Trump rally, Thomas Matthew Crooks purchased 50 rounds of ammunition from a gun shop in Bethel Park, Pennsylvania. Also, that 2 improvised explosive devices were found in his car and home. Sources say on the day of the rally, Crooks, a member at a local gun club, told his father he was going to the shooting range, and that's when his father gave him the rifle used in the attack. FBI investigators say they've conducted hundreds of interviews and scoured his social media and phone, but a motive remains unclear. The Secret Service director sitting down with our Pierre Thomas, calling the shooting unacceptable, promising transparency in the investigation.
And we want to make sure that we examine everything from start to finish. And if we need to change our practices, we will absolutely do that.
So the buck stops with you?
The buck stops with me. I am the director of the Secret Service, and I need to make sure that we are performing a review and that we are giving resources to our personnel as necessary.
Some have questioned how Crooks was able to carry out his attack in a seemingly secure area. ABC News has learned heavily armed police were stationed inside the building, which was being used as a law enforcement staging area, but they did not see Crooks climbing up the outside of the building. He had a direct line of sight to the former president, roughly 400 feet away from the stage. Officials say a police officer confronted him moments before. Videos from the scene show people tried to alert police 86 seconds before the first shots began. Following the shooting, Trump and Biden spoke on the phone. Trump describing the call to ABC's Jonathan Karl, saying, "It was very nice. He couldn't have been nicer." Biden telling NBC the political climate is too heated.
There's no place at all for violence in politics in America. None. Zero. And we've reached a point where it's become too commonplace.
Lionel Moise, ABC News, New York.
U.S. Representative for District 27 Michael Cloud released this statement on the assassination attempt. This is a stark reminder that there is evil in our nation that must be countered and that we must rise above the voices that are at work seeking to foster hate and division, end quote. June saw a 29% decline from May in migrant encounters on the border. U.S. Customs and Border Protection says the numbers were also the lowest monthly total since January 2021. Officials attribute the decline to President Biden's proclamation on June 4th. The proclamation temporarily suspends the entry of certain non-citizens across the southern border. The 7-day average is down to less than 1,900 migrant encounters per day, and more than 70,000 individuals have been returned to more than 170 countries. And that leads us to your viewer poll. You can scan the QR code right there on your screen to take part. We ask you, do you think Biden's executive order is the reason for the drop in border crossings? Okay, let's take a look. 32% of you say yes, and 68% of you say no. We want to keep hearing from y'all. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part in our viewer poll. And remember, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click that notification bell. Let's take a look at our clock. It is just about 6:39 on our Tuesday morning. Here's a look at what's coming up on 25 News Now Sunrise. Homeowners with significant storm damage are running out of time to apply for help.
I'm ABC's Perry Russum in Milwaukee. Former President Trump with his first appearance since the assassination attempt, and now he has a running mate. That story coming up.
And also coming up after the break, we'll take a look at your weather and health forecast, followed by your marine forecast. And later on Sunrise, we'll take another look at that heat and the rain that's still to come our way this week. Well, good morning, Crossroads. If you're all tuning in with us this morning, you're looking live in Cuero, and look at that. As that sun's coming up, you got all kinds of colors and clouds in the sky. You can see the cloud cover over us right now. Not too cloudy and also not too bad in terms of temperature or too bad in terms of humidity, sitting at 75. It is a little bit humid out there, I might say, sitting at 97% with your dew point wet 74. But we're not really expecting any fog out there this morning. Visibility does say 7 miles, but that's not really that foggy. Because today it's going to be another warm and humid day, getting up to about 94. I'm thinking for your high temperature here in Victoria. It might hit 95 for a moment or so, but I'm not really buying that because clouds are going to increase in the afternoon, mostly cloudy skies. Your heat indices up to 109 will be possible for some today, so please be careful in that heat. But otherwise, good news is pollen is going to be nice and low all across the board. Air quality, that's going to be moderate today, not too bad. Your UV index, that's going to be extreme before the clouds roll in sometime after 1 or 2 today. But otherwise, it's also not going to be a bad day to get out in the water. It's nice and smooth waves, around 1 foot, and winds still light, between 5 to 10 knots. But coming our way, folks, your temperatures are going to be on the drop and our rain chances are going up. We're going to look at that coming up in just a few more moments. And that's it for weather. Now we're going to look at sports with Max.
Victoria Generals are trying to keep the good times rolling at home, coming in with a 14-3 record at Riverside, trying to hold on to a 9-5 lead in the 8th inning. They call on Julio Garcia to come in, slam the door shut on the mound after the tying run stood on deck. He did ditch that, willing out of trouble in the 8th, and he finished the job in the 9th. The Generals are on a 4-game winning streak. Next up, the Seguin River Monsters, who they've had a lot of success against, but they know they must focus in as the home stretch of the season approaches.
We usually do good against the game, so looking forward to going out there and competing. We got a lot of team chemistry, got a lot of work coming in, and just doing the job.
This league, there's a lot of parity this year, and you can't take anyone lightly. Anybody can beat anybody on any day, and they got some new guys coming in over there. They're always going to be well coached over there, and you know, the second half group has always been well for them, and we hope we can do good with our second half guys and take it from them. We want to try and play our best ball here at the end of the season, rolling into the playoffs, and it's not that time yet. We still got about 12, 13 more games to play, but we're trending in the right direction.
They are off today before kicking off a stretch of 13 games in a row. They return home Thursday night. This is Max Williams, 25 News Now Sports.
Thank you, Max. All right. We want to invite y'all to experience our digital streaming service, Crossroads Today Plus. You can find it on your connected TV, through Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Apple TV, Android TV. Just search for Crossroads Today Plus. It's day 2 of the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee. Last night, Republicans there celebrating as former President Trump officially became the party's nominee for president.
Donald J. Trump.
Former President Trump's first public appearance since the assassination attempt days ago.
The man is tough.
Trump walking into the Republican National Convention Monday night, now the party's official nominee, a bandage covering his right ear. By his side, his newly named running mate, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance.
He knows what it's like to live in poverty, forgotten by Washington politicians.
The 39-year-old former Marine and venture capitalist rose to national fame with his memoir, Hillbilly Elegy. Vance was once a Trump critic, calling him America's Hitler.
I don't hide from that. I was certainly skeptical of Donald Trump in 2016, but President Trump was a great president, and he changed my mind. I think he changed the minds of a lot of Americans.
President Biden on Vance's nomination.
He's a clone of Trump on the issues. A clone of Trump on the issues.
Last weekend's assassination attempt becoming a rallying cry for Republicans.
On Saturday, the devil came to Pennsylvania holding a rifle, but an American lion got back up on his feet and he roared!
Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas says an independent review of Saturday's shooting will start in days. ABC's Pierre Thomas with an exclusive interview with Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle.
Who is most responsible for this happening?
What I would say is that the Secret Service is responsible for the protection of the former president.
So the buck stops with you?
The buck stops with me.
You plan to stay on, absolutely.
I do plan to stay on.
Sources confirm the shooter bought hundreds of rounds of ammunition in the days and weeks ahead of the attack. And sources say on the day of the attack, he told his father he was going to the shooting range, and that's how he got that gun. Perry Russum, ABC News, Milwaukee.
Calhoun County residents who suffered losses from storms in May have 1 month left to apply for federal assistance. The deadline is August 15th. FEMA has provided over $176 million to Texas households. Calhoun County residents can go online to disasterassistance.gov and download the FEMA app for mobile devices. They can call the FEMA helpline at 800-621-3362 between 6 a.m. and 10 p.m. August 15th is also the deadline for submitting disaster loan applications to the Small Business Administration at sba.gov/disaster or by calling 800-659-2955. The time is now 6:46 on our Tuesday morning. Still to come, you may want to check on the teenagers in your life. They're feeling like they don't have social or the emotional support they need. We have the numbers from a report up next. Okay, it's time to celebrate those birthdays. Happy birthday to Lupe. Happy birthday, Lupe, or Lupe, depending on how you pronounce it. Lupe Amaro Martinez, happy birthday. Blessings always from your family. We love you.
Happy birthday, Lupe. And happy birthday to San Diego Anchorman star, also known as Ron Burgundy. Will Ferrell himself, he's turning 57 today. Happy birthday, Will. And to see your birthday wish live on 25 News Now Sunrise, come to crossroadstoday.com, click on More, and under Home you'll see KVU to submit your birthday.
And happy birthday if you're celebrating a birthday today. Parker, are you the same height as Will Ferrell?
I am, actually. I think he's 6'5" as well.
He's pretty tall.
He's a pretty tall guy, actually. That's right. Happy birthday if you're celebrating with us, folks. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Well, good morning, Crossroads. I hope y'all got used to yesterday's weather, because I think we're going to have another day like it coming our way today, maybe even tomorrow as well. Because yesterday at the airport, they recorded a temperature of about 93.8 degrees, so I'm going to go ahead and say 94. But that means here in the city, because of urban heat island effect, we got about 95 degrees, about a degree warmer. But that is about 8 degrees below our record temperature set in 2000. But coming away for the rest of this week, even today and tomorrow, it's going to feel like as high as 103. It's actually going to feel as high as 109. So please be careful with the heat and the humidity still present. But take a look at what's coming our way for the next few days. Yes, your eyes do not deceive you. The temperatures are dropping into the low 90s, maybe even flirting with the upper 80s by the time we get into Sunday and starting parts of your next work week on Monday. And why that is because the rain is going to come back probably sometime, I'm thinking Thursday, because the front's going to come down and it's going to stall somewhere in central or southeast Texas. But for today, in the meantime, until then, it's still going to be hot and humid. Not the temperature you saw there were for Victoria. Out northwest, y'all can see up to near 100 degrees because it's still going to be pretty hot, so please keep careful of that. But otherwise, when it's hot out there, we're going to watch the tropics, and right now, it's plenty quiet. Very good news. But we're going to take a look at all of that and more, though, later on Sunrise. Back to Carolina.
Thank you, Parker. A new report suggests about 4 out of 5 teens say they don't feel they have the social or emotional support they need. The report published by the National Center for Health Statistics shows just a fraction of teen participants say they have sufficient social and emotional support. The study looked at 1,200 children aged 12 to 17, along with their parents. Parents were nearly 3 times more likely to think their children received enough support. It's noted it could also be a result of teens' reluctance to share their problems with their parents. A major Russian cybersecurity company is calling it quits in the U.S. Kaspersky Lab announced Monday it's winding down U.S. operations after nearly 2 decades. The move comes a month after the Commerce Department banned U.S. sales of the company's software and products, citing national security issues. The shutdown is expected to start July 20th, along with layoffs for U.S.-based employees. Kaspersky Lab started in Moscow in 1997. It grew into one of the world's most successful antivirus software companies. Still to come on Sunrise, news to know before you go. What sources on the inside are hearing about a potential ceasefire between Israel and Hamas? Insiders say the head of Hamas in Gaza may be under pressure to consider a ceasefire. The CIA has assessed that Yahya Sinwar's own military commanders are encouraging him to accept a deal to end the war with Israel. CIA Director Bill Burns said that the Hamas leader is concerned about being blamed for the suffering in Gaza, and his senior commanders are growing tired of the fight. U.S. officials believe that Sinwar serves as the key decision maker for Hamas on whether to accept a ceasefire deal. He's also considered to be the key architect of the October 7th massacre in Israel. COVID-19 is surging again. The CDC says a significant marker has been the amount of COVID detected in wastewater. It's reached high levels for the first time this summer. The CDC says the virus is growing or likely growing in 44 states in the District of Columbia. States with surging levels include California, Arkansas, Florida, Maryland, Nevada, Oregon, and our very own home state of Texas. As a result, states are seeing more and more COVID-19 related hospitalizations and emergency room visits. Health officials say a new subvariant called FLIRT is helping to drive up cases. A former FBI informant is hoping to get charges against him dismissed following Monday's ruling in the Trump classified documents case. Alexander Smirnov is charged by Special Counsel David Weiss with lying to the FBI about supposed Biden family corruption in Ukraine. He has pled not guilty to 2 felony charges following the dismissal of the classified documents case against Donald Trump Monday. Smirnov's lawyers argue the special counsel in his case were unauthorized, the same argument Trump's lawyers used to get his case thrown out. Republican Congresswoman Lauren Boebert of Colorado wants to punish the Secret Service director financially after Saturday's assassination attempt against former President Donald Trump. On Monday, Boebert introduced a bill to prohibit federal funds being used to pay the salary of Kimberly Cheadle, the Secret Service director. In an interview, Cheadle said Saturday's events were unacceptable and, quote, this should have never happened. She also said that as the director, quote, the buck stops with me, but she plans on staying on as director. The hacking group Knowbulge says it's leaked thousands of internal Disney messages. It says the more than a terabyte of data contained information about unreleased projects, raw images, computer codes, and some logins. Knowbulge calls itself a, quote, hacktivist group. It says it gained access through a Slack user who had cookies. Disney says it's investigating the matter. Workers will reduce Mockingbird lanes so crews can finish resurfacing. Drivers will see Mockingbird with 1 lane in each direction between John Stockbauer Drive and Loop 463 Tuesday. It's all part of the 2024 Mill and Overlay project. U.S. Rep. Colin Allred's campaign outraised Senator Ted Cruz in the second quarter of 2024, but Cruz now has a cash advantage with 12.1 million cash on hand compared to Allred's 10.4 million. Read the story by the Texas Tribune on our website, crossroadstoday.com. And now let's get a look at our forecast with Parker. Parker, how is it looking out there?
Like a beautiful sunrise out there. Look at the sunrise coming over Port Lavaca. Also still plenty warm and humid out there, sitting at 81 at Port Lavaca, and you're still plenty humid at 94%. But you just saw there a little bit of clouds out there, but in central Texas, very dry and clear. Going to be sunny, bringing a hot day across Texas. A lot of people are going to be in the hundreds, but here in southeast Texas, we're going to be in the 90s because clouds are going to increase today. We got some mostly cloudy skies, shifting sometime after 1, 2, or 3 p.m. It's actually going to be a real cool, interesting sight for some people. Get a picture, look in the sky. Getting up to about 94 though today, and we're going to stay like that for the next few days until the rain returns later this week.
I cannot wait until the return of rain.
I can't wait either. I'm excited.
Well, thank you, Parker, and thank y'all for joining us. Be sure to join it for 25 News Now at 5, 6, and 10.